Oops, I forgot the first part. But at least it started this time. It's gonna work.
Really?
Yeah,
oh, shit.
it might. Second time, it just feels vaguely familiar, doesn't it? Like we've done this recently.
Deja fucking vu, man.
Deja fucking vu. And I am, this is fucking Nothing Sacred, the Hump Day edition.
AIDS attrition.
And I am fucking Cruise Control.
And I am fucking Maxwell Silverhammer.
Even though we're ourselves, so we're basically fucking ourselves.
Yeah, well, we kind of got ourselves fucked the other night.
Yeah, this is Nothing Sacred for the 8th of June, 2016. It is actually a hump day for me, too.
Ooh.
For once, because I am in the middle of my shortened work week, as I have Fambada coming out. It's going to be, and I'm not working on Friday or Saturday, so today is my hump day.
I'm kind of not looking forward to Friday, man. I got my sleep study coming up, man.
Oh, you're not looking forward to it. You're kind of nervous about that, eh?
Well, you know, I'm just afraid I go there and then I'm not able to sleep because I know they're going to be monitoring my ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you might. That's a lot of people have issues with that, I'm sure. But they might. Do they give you? I guess no, they can't give you anything. That's the whole point. They don't give you anything. They just lay there and you're gonna have a fucking probably probes on you and shit shoved in your fucking nether regions and.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's gonna be fucking great, it's lovely. But hey, this is our second attempt at a show because fucking the first one didn't go very well.
Yeah, well, shit happens.
It happens. Man. It's only the second time it's happened. So you know, I mean, my track record as a producer.
A producer, yeah.
Producer.
Well, you know,
it's pretty,
like I said, man, I you
decent
know,
actually. So far.
And no disrespect to George, but you know, at All Talk, I had it happen a bunch of times, especially towards the end. And you know, and I was paying for that, so you know.
I think you were paying for that, and now I feel like I let you down, man.
Nah, man, I'm not paying you, and this is like only your second time.
Man. I still feel like the expectations are there, and I just kind of didn't meet them, you know.
No, man, nothing like that. It's all gravy. But you know what, man? We got our support up there.
Yes, we do, and that's another great segue there, Maxwell.
Yes, sir.
We got people liking it, and it's called Support. It's on the Hupem Blue Lounge, which is
that's our new YouTube channel.
And that's HUPEMBLUE Lounge, LOUNG, and it has our first collaborative project called Support.
It's dope,
and
man.
It's about Steve-O and Lawrence and the rest of the ex-Nebulae folks. So.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. I think it's pretty good. I think it has, you know, although
it's going to get a little each time a little more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Intense.
Yeah, like
or just involved would probably be more the term. We really don't know where it's going. We have a vague idea, but that's about it. You know, it's kind of like improv. You have a vague idea what you're gonna do, and then all of a sudden it comes together.
Comes to fruition. Although I do know that yeah, they're going to push Lawrence a little far.
Well, we'll see. Well, we're not going to. Hey, don't give him anything away, man.
Okay.
But anyways, what the reason why we're talking about this first is because kind of brings up something we were talking about people who want to watch it. Now, here's the thing about this for those people out there: it's an audio-only format. So, I mean, there is a picture on there as a placeholder for the YouTube video. But it's meant to be, okay, get this. Now, this is going to, you want to sit down for this one, okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's meant to be listened to. And it's a 27-minute long video audio experience.
You mean you got to pay attention?
You got to pay attention. You have to actually sit through it. Now, you don't have to sit and watch it. You can, turn it on and do what the hell you're going to do, you know, lay in your bed naked and play with yourself while you think of Steve-O, you know, and Lawrence getting it on. Or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. You can do your dishes, you can do other things, you can listen to it, but it's meant to be listened to as a whole because it is a story, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
So we had some people,
apparently. Well, there was somebody in particular that, you know, he called me and said, you know, man, it's all cruise control. And I said, no, it's not. I said, I've got parts in there too. And he's like, no, all I heard was cruise control. And I was like, wait a minute, did you listen to it? And he was like, well, you know, I was skipping through it, and all I heard was cruise control. And I'm like, you can't skip through it, man. It's like you said, it's a story, and you got to follow the story. But it's that short attention, and this is the one shortcoming I think that we're going to run up against. But who gives a shit? Because the fans that we do have, you know, listen and appreciate to the fullest. You know what I mean?
Quite honestly, if those fans happen to be visually impaired or blind and like to listen to things, well, then so be it. But whoever wants to listen, you know, you're going to have to just pay attention. It's not like it's like fucking algebra or anything. You just got to pay attention.
Well, and what's funny is these are the same people because the same person loves these fucking viral videos. You know, these dumb videos where, you know, people go do stupid shit and, you know, they're in a bathroom and the guy sprays whipped cream under the door and the dude thinks he's jacking off in the next stall and it's you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'll watch hours upon excruciating hours of that fucking mind-numbing stupidity.
Yeah, but can't listen to something in a row because it's not visually, it's not catching. The shiny isn't involved.
Wow.
And the shiny is basically the visual, like, oh, look at that, the pretty colors or whatever the hell else to keep you involved. But I don't see what the problem is. You just listen to it.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like they can use all that. They can direct all that. You know, it's not like they don't have the potential. You know, some people just don't. You know, there's a friend of ours that just doesn't have that attention span.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. You know, that's his thing. But you know, some of these people, they can sit and watch hours of these dumb fucking viral videos, and they watch them several times even. They'll even show them to friends. And as a matter of fact, I had to tell him to stop forwarding those to me. You know, there was a point where he would send me these videos, and I'd be like, dude, can you stop sending these? And he'd be like, well, what? You don't have a sense of humor? You know, and I'm just like...
Of course. It's not that you don't find them funny. It's that you don't have a sense of humor. I love the judgment there. It can't just be that you have a difference of opinion and a difference of what's funny. It has to be, that it's you who don't have a sense of humor. No, it's just different, and that's the truth. If you don't find this funny, that's fine, but you have to listen to it to actually judge it because it has to be listened to in order. Because it starts off with a format. There's a call, then there's a couple scenes after that call that kind of relate to that call. Yeah. So you have to kind of listen to pay attention and.
It's intellectual humor, man, and that's why. I mean, I laughed my ass off through the whole thing.
And here's the thing. This is why I don't want to, and I've stopped using those time markers, and I'm not going to use them on anything.
Oh, so people could jump through.
You're either going to listen to the whole fucking thing or you're not. So if you want to jump through, here's a timestamp. Well, that implies that what you're listening to previously isn't important. And so I'm going to stop using those because if you're going to listen through. Now, if you want to fast forward, you can. But the thing is, if you're going to fast forward to get to a different subject or a different part, you're still going to have to listen. You can't just clicky the button and go to the next part to listen to the next part of the thing. Oh, I don't like this part. Clicky. Oh, this next part's boring. Clicky. Well, and then they get to the last part. I don't understand what happened. That's because you didn't listen, right?
And that's the sad part, you know. And again, not only do they love these viral videos, but dude, these are the same people that will sit and go on Netflix and watch hours of fucking, these mini series.
Yeah, and Daredevil and stuff like that. Another series, of course. Yeah, because it's visual. It's a visual thing for some people too, but it's also just a respect factor too. You got to be honest with that. You know, let's put it this way. All I heard was cruise control. Well, first of all, what's wrong with that? Depending on the character involved, I am the character in the story. One of the characters who's actually the main character who kind of revolves around. But regardless, it's almost like that. I don't want to hear him. Well, I'm sorry. It's part of the.
He's part of the show.
Part of the show.
So you think it was a prejudicial thing on his end?
I think it may be a little bit, but I do think you're right. It's just I want to get to I just want to kind of like pretend that I'm listening for your as a favor.
Yeah,
that was
you're right.
Good. Like, so what happened in the second scene? Well, there was a guy. You don't know, do you? I kind of skipped through it. Well, then you didn't really listen to it.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, not just him, but, I've had other people bitch to me about even our shows, or even when I did the STEM radio show, that's just too long. I can't sit through that, and just,
here's what you do. You play it for like 15 minutes and then stop, and what you can do, it's this awesome technology. It's called a pause. It's called a pause button. And YouTube even has a special thing where if you stop and then go back to the video, it actually does usually pick up where you left off.
Well, if you have a YouTube channel, I think it keeps track of where you stopped at the last video.
Yeah, usually it does. It's helpful technology for those idiots, or not idiots, I'm sorry, those people who can't pay attention for too long. And it's not because they can't sometimes, you don't have time. And I understand it's a longer, quote-unquote, longer video.
But the same thing at the same time, though, dude, they'll sit and watch hours of these stupid... Yep. I watched the whole first season of, Game of Thrones or some shit. And you're just going, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't pay attention for 27 minutes to this thing? You know?
Yep, exactly. So and it's also just shows that some people just aren't into that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But don't, we're not going to change that just to suit anybody's,
Yeah,
ideas.
people have actually given me that as a criticism. Hey, man, as a criticism, you guys might want to blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, well, what? Why? We got to have little beepies and sounds and jumpies and happies in there and shit?
Yeah, and see, here's another thing about our stuff is that when people try to get us to quote-unquote improve and change and make it better. Now, if we see here's something that makes sense, and if, like, sound quality was terrible, which it's not, I mean, whatever we need to do, everyone can understand what we're saying. It's very clear, at least to my opinion. So here's what here's our idea, and it's kind of the same thing that goes along with dating, friends, and anything else. You be yourself, you do what you feel like doing, what suits your mood, how it works for you, and then the people that are going to like it are going to like it for the exact reasons that you want them to, because of what you actually bring to the table and not what they're expecting or wanting from you instead.
So your real fans are actually your real fans, because, they love you regardless of what you're doing.
They like you because of what you're actually doing that hits them, and what you're doing that hits them is going to be legitimate and real because it is on your part. And that's why it's funny with these stars that try to remake themselves. No, well, that's not how.
Yeah.
What's something made you a star? What made you a star was that people connected with you by who you were, and therefore not because you were marketed correctly or you did this. No, that's not to say it doesn't happen a lot of time. Marketing does for the sheeples, out there.
Oh, of course.
But for real people, like different bands, music, anything else, you connect with it and you go, wow, that's why I liked them. And then they come back with, all right, man, fucking Joe Satriani's got a rap album out. And you're like, what the fuck?
Right. It's weird.
Now, it might be good if it's rapped with the guitar and mixed in. It might be kind of interesting. But if it's like just him just going, I'm on the microphone and I'm ready to roll. I'm not doing my guitar because that just ain't got no soul or whatever the fuck. And you're like, wait, just Joe Satriani without a guitar? That's not. You can try it, but it might not work. So you might, and then the thing is, you'll probably get new fans.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just it's a whole, and
that's why when people say, they're a has been, or that's a one hit wonder or something like that, and meanwhile they, dropped a shitload of albums.
Yeah.
They just weren't popular, but
or they weren't popular
fans are buying their shit.
Like for a perfect example of that is a band called Mr. Big.
Oh, I remember Mr. Big.
Mr. Big. I used to love Mr. Big. Remember, I had their albums, and I was like, yeah, these guys are cool. And you're like, oh, they're okay. They did Be With You, but they had a couple of rockin' songs that I really digged. Dagged, dug 'em. So I dug those. But if you go and look at their information, they were absolutely monsters in Japan. Like absolutely massive arenas sold out there. This huge megastars. So just be with yourself, and whoever deals with get you, and those are the people that you're going to want to get you, because those are the people that stick with you. Yeah, stick with you, and you get away as well. Shout out to some of our
some of the people we've had on.
And some of the people also that have been listening and been commenting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So we we're just gonna do what we're gonna do,
Right.
That's it.
And it's not that we can't take criticism. I could see that too. Oh, you guys just aren't good at criticism. No, like you said, if it makes sense, and then yeah, we see it. But if it's just something, I hear cruise control throughout the whole thing. Yeah. Well, maybe if you'd sit and listen to the thing, you'd hear me too.
Maybe exactly. It's kind of funny. It's like, I don't hear you. I'm trying to listen for you. Well, then why don't you listen?
Listen to the whole thing. Listen to us. That's what it is. It's us interacting as characters.
And it's also another very simple reason why we don't give a fuck about criticism is because there's not much monetary investment in this, and there's not much time investment in this. Like, yes, we missed the other show was messed up, but it was an hour of time that we just sat bullshitting, and so it really wasn't that kind of loss. Now, if we had gone through a whole bunch of production shot and doing a bunch of ribbity-doos and fucking
cutting and slicing and slicing and dicing,
then we were like, we need to get this for more, because if we were really obsessed with it, then we would do it, but we don't have to be, because it's a minimum risk, maximum reward thing. We like to do it. We're having fun with it. We're getting more ideas, and it's exciting just to get the ideas out there and have them be able to be heard by anybody who likes them. And if you don't like it, well, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't care. I mean, it's like, okay, you're not digging it.
Because you don't like it doesn't mean it needs to be changed. It just means that you don't need to listen to it. But we would expect you at least to listen to it.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
you don't dig it,
yeah, at least give it
if you're
a
not
listen.
catching it, then don't catch. Then you didn't catch it. No biggie. Let it fly. But don't try to catch it and grab it and change it. So next time you catch it, it tastes better to you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. Come on, man. You need to start doing this.
Fucking man, I don't like that
Cruise
tuna
control
fish,
to shut
man.
the fuck up.
You know what I want you to do with that tuna fish? I want you to use beef instead and put it into a patty and put it on a sandwich with cheese and lettuce, tomato, onions, mayo, and ketchup. Wait, that's not
Just
tuna
hide
anymore.
the tuna fishy taste.
No,
you know?
no, no. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not tuna, but it's technically still. No, it's not. It's not the same thing anymore.
Well,
Should've
you know
used
what?
it
It's
right.
almost like when back in my days of doing music, and people used to make those comments. I think Cruise Control's upstaging you. Well, no, he's in the hook of the song. So of course, the hook is what people would grab onto.
I mean, I can't help that. That has nothing to do with anything else. That's just simple me being who I am. I upstage you all the time, regardless. Just me being there. You know.
Right. Well, you know, that's just how it works. No, but you were the hook of the song. The hook is what grabs people. You know, if you like the lyrics, great. But you know, it wasn't about you upstaging or any of that bullshit. But people almost had that as a criticism. You know.
Well, how could I upstage you when I was doing something completely different that complimented you?
Well, that's it.
And
it was, you know, I had 3 verses and you just sang the hooks.
Yeah, well, then you know, whatever. People are going to do that, you know. It's like, well, you shouldn't. You should, whatever. We're just doing this for fun, having a good time. So that's all. That's our big rant to start out this one. And I don't know if I want to go back to the shit that I was talking about earlier.
Well, you know, I got something. I do have something that we were talking about. It's not so. And originally I had it as an SMJ, but I don't know, man. It's kind of morphed into something else.
Okay.
And basically what happened was a couple days ago I was talking to somebody and I was explaining how paratransit works. And I said, you know, it's, you know, you buy an $80 pass and it used to be unlimited, but now it's only 46 rides. And then after that, you got to pay $3.
Mm-hmm.
So when I told her this, she was like, what? You're paying for this service? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's how it works. And she was like, that's bullshit. Where are my tax dollars going? And I'm going, well, you know, most people pay more than that in gas, so this is actually a pretty good deal. And she was like, you shouldn't have to pay for that at all. You're disabled. You know, and she went on this whole tirade of, you know, how, you know, she pays for this for people like us who need transportation. But here's the funny thing, though, dude. So these are the same people who will bitch because we've got to pay for paratransit, and they think that's shitty, and that, you know, we should get it for free. But then when I explain the program that I work for, right away people are very, what? You know, like, huh? You know, they don't quite understand it, or they're suspicious of it, you know? And it's like, well, this is a program that helps disabled people, you know, that can't read. And I'm just like, that's okay. So the same people bitch about paratransit, you know, costing money. Here we got this free program, and they're weirded out by it. You know, it bothers them.
It's selective outrage, man. It's
Well, you know what I think it is, though, dude? Here's what I've noticed is, you know, because we're the only country that makes fun of people that study and that try to get ahead, and or as far as, you know, outside of sucking dick and whatever, but people who try to build their minds, you know, they're made fun of. Oh, they're nerds, they're bookworms, they're this. Because I think, dude, it's one of those things where literacy just isn't important.
well, it doesn't have to be when you got a shape you can push on your fucking phone that looks like an icon that tells you to speak. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. So it just shows you what they put in.
It is going on down the shitter completely because no one has to even be literate anymore. People don't even know how to write anymore. Like, they don't even teach cursive in school anymore.
You know, that's the funny thing. I was going to tell you that, dude, with Kraken. We got something that was written in cursive, and he couldn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? I was like, dude, come on. You guys didn't learn cursive? And he was like, well, not really. And I'm just like, damn. You know, because he could not read this thing. He said it was written in cursive.
Yeah, that's because they don't need to any longer. Because and the thing is, little things that you don't realize, like the act of writing something out, is actually a way that you mold your mind and you strengthen your mind because you're thinking about writing it out as you're doing it. And so it also improves muscle coordination, hand-eye coordination, as well as thought to muscle, you know, reflex whatever the fuck, stop to muscle reflex with the fucking coordination.
Well, shit, now you just speak a command and the fucking thing does whatever
that's
you
what
want.
I'm saying. Like, I don't even have to text anymore. I can speak into my phone and say, okay, Google. Like, I can do this, you know. What's this here? And it's very simple. I can just go in my text and just go back and, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't. Okay, Google. Who was buried in Grant's tomb?
According to Wikipedia, Grant's tomb, now formerly resting place of Ulysses S. Grant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right,
so
man.
so pretty much, and I can do that with texting now. Believe me, it's a boon to a lot of people. Like there's so much technology coming out, and a lot of it's very amazing. Like there's gloves now. All right, there are gloves that you can put on, and when you do sign language, they translate it into speech.
Oh, no shit.
No shit.
So we can actually talk to defos now.
You can talk to the defos now.
Wow.
So that they literally move their hands around and it goes, I am going to, I love you, whatever.
That's
whatever,
dope as fuck.
And there's also stuff now that's actually even being to the point where you can actually speak and it translates it into your native language.
Oh, well, on the computer, they have that now online. There's translator programs and shit. Like if you're talking to people in Japan or something.
Yeah. But it's incredible, the amazing stuff. I don't get me wrong, I'm definitely, I'm a tech head, man.
You're a Maha to the fullest, man.
I'm totally digital. I love my fucking new phone. I use it all the time. It's fantastic. But I also understand there's a book. It's called The Shallows, How the Internet is Changing Your Mind. And this is what kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, about how interesting how this kind of program, this morphed from the whole transit back to what we were talking about before. But basically, whenever you do certain things, your mind changes. Your mind is elastic. It changes based upon what you do and how you react with it, right?
Okay.
So, like, when you get on the internet and you're seeing all this shit all the time, your attention span is destroyed. Like, before, all we had was books. But then
you had to read and pay attention.
Radio came around. And even before books changed people's mindsets. Before books, they didn't do the same kind of stuff. It was all verbal. So then when books came around, it became written. And then after the radio came around, and then TV, and then it became, short attention span theater, and now it's even worse because our minds are altering. But it's the same kind of thing. So maybe it is true. Maybe people just devalue it because, reading.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, I'm sure. It's just, it's like, what kind of program is that? Free recorded, it's like free books, for people, it's like that. Obviously can't read standard print. Why would you want? Why is that important? It's more important to give them free transportation. That's what
you need it for when you're bobed.
Yeah, when you're bobed?
When you're bobed, you need it so you can actually do something while you're waiting the 4 hours on the transportation that you're paying for.
Right, and I will get these fuckers too sometimes at like these health fairs that'll come up and they're trying to throw a stumbling block at me or something. They'll be like, well, have you ever heard of the Kindle before? And then I shut them the fuck up by saying, well, actually, we have an app that you can download that actually works on Kindles. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, ooh.
Hell, Kindle even has its own audio format where you can actually listen to text-to-speech audio format.
Yeah. Now they've actually changed it to where it does that.
Yeah,
now.
And there's also Audibles, which you can get on Kindle. You can download books. So, yeah, there's a ton of shit you can do because they understand that a lot of people love to listen to audiobooks. And the thing is that people don't realize is that, and that's where it's going to too. People don't read as much. They like to listen to while they're doing shit. My buddy likes to listen to books while he's putting together computers for his job.
Some do it while they're driving.
Yeah. Some do it while they're driving. Some do it while they're exercising. So yeah, it's just funny that people would like want that one thing. And not the other. Of course, the real funny thing about it is still that, how you shouldn't have to pay for that. Well, it's a service.
Yeah.
I mean, It's a fucking service, and as a human being adult, we actually prefer, or at least most of us do, quote-unquote disabled people, at least, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'll speak for myself. I like to pay for my own shit, because otherwise it's patronizing, and it assumes that I can't. And I can't.
That you're just an indigent fuck, and we need to just
give you like when motherfuckers like come and do you've had this happen once or twice, I think, where someone tries to buy your food and shit. Like,
oh, dude, I've had people buy my meals. I've had people pay for me on public buses. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you're like, oh, all right. You're like, fuck it, these idiots are gonna allow it to happen. But then again, you try to stop it because you want to forestall that happening again.
Actually, the one guy, I think I told you, I went back into that same place. And I put down, I think, $20 or something. And I said, you know what? Next time that guy's in here, buy his meal for him from me. Mm-hmm. And I left my business card, too. So to kind of show him, like,
hey, listen, I fucking handle my own shit, all right? Because that's the thing. Because people will do this, too. They will give you shit, and then if you don't accept it, they'll get mad as if you
insulted them.
And it's like, well, So you're giving me this, then you're getting mad that I'm not using it. Instead of being happy that I'm not using it, you're actually upset that I'm not for some reason because you think that I'm like insulting you. When in fact, you know, it's not an insult at all. It's basically me saying, hey, keep your money. I like taking care of myself because what it is, it's a power thing too. Because when you let someone pay for you, it's almost like, you know, like this happened a lot. My dad used to take me places sometimes, right?
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go down I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to go down to my buddy's house. And he'd go, all right, I'm like, no, I can take the bus. He's like, no, I'll take you, man. Save you a bunch of time. And I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah. And then it's like, ah. And then while we're driving, it's like, you know, like, well, why did you do it, dumb fuck?
Oh, yeah. Well, then they'll use the thing of, gotta drive you. And it's like, I never asked you to do this shit.
You asked to do it. You said, well, do it. Well, because it's your conscience, not mine. I would have taken the 45 minutes longer to get there. Actually, I would have done it anyways because that's what I have to do. I do it all my life. That's what you do. You do what you
I
need
had a
to do.
roommate
You take
do
care
that.
of your business.
You know, where when he started driving, you know, it was like, hey, man, I'll take you to work. Like, you know, and I was like, you sure, man? And he was like, yeah, no problem. I'll take you to work because he was excited he was driving. But then there was one day where he was running the fuck late. And I'm like, dude, I got to get to work, man. And he's like, hey, man, I'm doing this as a favor, man. And I was like, no, don't play that card.
Yeah, because I would have set this up before if you hadn't asked. Because I can handle that shit. Yeah. I have the means to do it. Now, you asked and said you would do it, so don't bitch about it when you're able to do it. And don't get act like you're put upon, like, I got to do this because I got to raise you and make sure you gets to where you need to be.
Yeah,
if you would have let me know that you couldn't do it yesterday, I would have got to where I needs to be myself.
Exactly. I could have set something up for me to do it myself, you know, but you offered.
Yeah. And this isn't a blindo thing at all. This is a person thing where people like to get the thing over you and like have that shit over you.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm always wary, and I always try to at least push to try to pay for shit. Because like right now, you know, I'm kind of not hurting. I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but you know, this weekend's going to be, you know, I'm probably going to be leaning on my, you know, somebody who has more money. My bro, yeah. And you know, I'm going to be like wary about that, even though I've helped in the past too. But I'm not going to be like down the line. Well, remember that time? Like, well, you keep offering. I could have fucking chilled, but you keep going. And then you say, no, don't worry about it, man. It's like, well, then once you say don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Once you offer something, then yeah, you shouldn't have to feel guilty about something that you offered to do, even though I never asked you to do it. It's fucking annoying. Don't do that. Don't offer people out there, and this is for anybody. It has nothing to do with anybody. Just don't do it. If you're going to offer to do something, do it with an open heart and or just hide everything and say, well shit.
Or if you don't want to do it, then don't offer.
Yeah, but if you don't want to do it after you offer, just shut your mouth and say, well, I did say I was going to do it, so now I am. You know.
That's why I never, you know, when people do the, oh, well, you know, if you need a ride anywhere, man, you know, I never take advantage of that shit. Very rarely, you know, unless I'm really stuck, you know what I mean? But believe me, I've had people do that, you know, you ever need a ride somewhere, I'll do that. And I'm like, yeah, right. Then the day I need the ride, you know, you can't do it, you know, so, you know, it's easy to be a soldier when there ain't no war.
Well, it goes to that matter of pride, too, because people, it's that old thing about that, and this is where it's dying, too. Is that people like me, I take pride in taking care of my own shit because I know I'm handling it and no one else is going to be doing that shit. Like I can talk to my family, my mom, and go, hey mom, yeah, what's up, mom? Oh, what are you doing? Well, mom, you haven't done shit. I haven't asked you for shit. All right, so
right now you could say I'm
handling my own business, you know. So there's none of that fucking guilt, none of that. Well, remember when you were? Yeah, I do, and that was 20 years ago. But since then, I haven't done shit. I've been online. I stayed at your house for a month. Yep, and then I was gone. I took care of my business, handled it. That's why when I came here to Oregon, it's funny because my buddy who I live with at the Ranger Resort for a week. See, everybody else thinks, oh well, yeah, he can come out and stay, and they figured I'd be sitting at that place for a fucking month, right? Well, I had a place already good for me. I was already in a place before I moved out there. So I got out there, and like 5 days after I was out there, I was in my own place. And they're like, "Really? You're leaving?" I'm like,
"Leaving already?"
Yeah, I'm not going to be sitting out here in the booties.
Well, that's it. So many people are happy to mooch. I think that's the thing too.
Yeah, well, they're happy to accept it because they think that's their entitlement, as you know, especially with disabilities or any kind of entitlement that you have, or quote unquote privilege that other people have.
Oh yeah. Oh. Speaking of privilege, I saw a post, man, that you put up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and somebody responded. I don't know if you did you see their response?
No. Who was it that responded?
Oh, Flinkles. It's our toaster oven.
Oh, really? What'd she say?
You might want to look at this real quick, man. I didn't realize you hadn't seen it.
I don't know. Is it going to be a good
Was
thing
your
or bad
post
thing?
about this about sentences for women and
Yeah.
men for the same crimes?
We'll have to see this. It's probably going to be.
Dig it up, man, because this is interesting. Yeah, she was a little bit like kind of, I thought, kind of militant, you know.
Well, we'll see. I'll see what it says here.
Yeah, this is.
Oh, it's taken off actually.
What's that?
Doesn't show on mine actually.
It doesn't?
No.
Oh shit! Yeah, because I saw there was a comment she posted on that.
It's not there now.
Oh, you think she deleted it?
She may have.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, dude, because she had a whole thing about, of course the justice system's supposed to be fair, but what about, she like cited some kind of study that they did and how they were saying that, 95% of rapes were men and blah, blah, blah. It was something that I'm like, oh my God, when cruise control sees this.
It's gone, yeah. Study that 90. So what does that mean? Does it change the fact that what I said was true? No. See, my point was very simple, and I was going to bring that up too. I was going to bring this up. This is why I don't go political, because I don't want to alienate my friends. Okay.
Right.
I don't want to do that. So she took it down. So I just don't want to alienate people, and that's why I normally don't do political posts. So that's why even right now I'm regretting it, because I'm like, I don't want to get bad blood between me and my fucking friends, because it's not worth it, right?
Right.
Well, because my point was, it was making me mad because they're talking about all this white privilege, and I'm like, well, you're talking about, because here's the idea. This is about that case where the Stanford guy got 6 months for raping this chick or sexually assaulting this girl. Okay.
Okay. Right.
All right. That's fine. That's awful. It's all about his race, right? It's because he's white, and it's because because if he was black, he would have gotten a much higher sentence. And if he was this, if he was black, it's all about white privilege and male privilege and all that. And I'm like, all right, well, wait a second. If you're really upset about that, then what about the privileges of women getting longer sentences, or for the same? I'm talking about for the same exact crime, not for anything different. You rob a bank, someone else robs a bank, they steal exactly the same money. The man is going to get 60% higher prison sentence than the woman on average. Right. That's not fair. That's privilege, isn't it?
Yeah, that's totally.
This is not just one individual case. This is a whole bunch of cases that are federal government averages. It's not like one case where some judge was an idiot. Because I'll agree, the guy should have gotten more, depending on I don't know the total specifics of the case, but he probably should have gotten a lot more than 6 months for. Basically, he took advantage of a chick who was passed out and was for like 20 minutes or something like that. It was awful, right?
Right.
Awful
but
thing.
if a woman had done that.
Well, if a woman had done that,
if a
woman had done that, she would have never even gotten convicted. It would have been laughed out of the court.
Right.
Exactly. You took advantage of a sleeping guy, lucky guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even a woman, if she did it to another woman.
So she's bringing up stats about that, which is fine. But did it answer the question that I had? Like it's gone now, and I think she probably wised up and said, you know what, it's not worth it. But and if you look at my stuff, did she answer the question and say, yeah, this is why?
Not really,
because there's no answer.
She was quoting a study, which is kind of funny because, what does the study say? A study is skewed because it's only a certain group of people.
Well, I quoted studies too, but if someone was studying the actual federal results of cases that had exactly the same stipulations, in that terms of let's say someone robs someone vandalizes a store or robs a store or steals something, same exact case, same exact information. And same exact, what in terms of what they did, and the punishment is literally 60% more for men than it is for women. Men just get higher sentences for the same exact crime. It's pretty much there. And if it isn't, then I'd like to see more information about it not being, because no one has refuted this. So if she didn't refute that point, then she's not making the point at all. Because my point was not that there was something wrong with that. My point is you're getting upset about one case. This is a systematic case issue where it happens in a lot of cases where exactly the same thing. Just like how many times you've seen a woman get the same exact sentence for a murder as a man? Usually there's some kind of thing going on because there's discrimination in the system.
Well, the circumstances,
it's systemic.
He was abusing her or something, or some,
And it's systemic discrimination. Basically meaning that it's happening on average. It's not, it's like someone saying, well, black people get arrested all the time more than. Or get more sentences than white people. That's a travesty and should not happen. Well, it should not happen the same with either gender. Right. So I had a feeling she might say something on there or somebody. That's why I kind of posted. But I was just mad. I was like, what? I don't like to post political stuff, but it just got me mad because people kept talking about privilege, but no one fucking gives a shit about dudes. No one cares. And she even proved my point. well, who cares? Women get this, women get that, women dooba dooba dooba. Well, I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about people who go into a store and steal some jewelry. The person who steals jewelry should get the same exact time for the same crime.
See, but you know what, though, man? It's interesting she took her comment down. Master Rawlings and I had a little disagreement today on Facebook, and it was nothing. I said, hey, man, I respect your opinion even though we don't agree on this. But, you were the only one that had balls to step up on my friends list and respond to this. Yeah. So I dig that.
Yeah, and she's hardcore militant, and I would have responded to it. I would have said, well, listen, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about privilege. Look beyond because see, everyone likes their own little thing. No one likes to think that men have any disadvantages in this world.
Well, that was some great group. That was some groupthink pizza right there, is what it was.
Yeah, because you saw. I mean, I don't know what she said specifically, but
I can't remember. It was like I said, I can't paraphrase the whole thing, but I do know she tried to quote this study.
95% of all rapes are men because men don't report being raped because it's not considered rape and it's laughable.
Or it doesn't get taken seriously.
Yeah, forced envelopment is not considered rape. You know that in the UK that only women can be raped, men can't be raped.
Oh, so that's the law?
That's the law. Men cannot be raped in certain countries. It's not considered rape.
Wow.
But see, and people laugh at the idea of forceful envelopment, but it happens all the time. You'd be interested in how many studies there are about guys who do not want to consent to any kind of sexual. They're drugged, they're drunk, and women will take advantage of them, and a lot of times, they'll get pregnant or something like that off it, and then of course the guy's screwed.
Well, and then oh, by the way, if you keep hearing Jaws occasionally, it's because there's a pop-up that it keeps reading. So if it's talking in the background, that's what's going on there.
Okay.
But anyway, and then there's men that are raped by other men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and women that are raped by women, or women that rape men. Because a lot of people don't consider okay, you take a fucking broom and you tie a guy up and fuck him in the ass with it. Is that rape? We would think it's, or is that that's just sodomy? No,
that's rape.
That should be considered penetration.
How gay rape is really not considered rape if you trip.
Well, no one gives a shit about prison rape. Those guys are just prisoners. They just been in jail longer so they can get raped more because they're men.
Right, exactly.
So no one gives a fuck about prison rape. No one gives a fuck about a lot of things, but people keep talking about this privilege and how this guy was such a... And then they don't talk about, of course, all the guys who've just been expelled for being accused of sexual assault without any proof. They lose their whole scholarships and they're expelled from the college permanently, and they have no recourse because the college says, well, she accused you. Yeah. So there's a lot of shit going on. I just get so tired that half the population is just treated like shit in some ways. Now, I am not the type. I'm an egalitarian, which basically means I believe in human rights. Right. Which means that I, for an extension, believe in both the rights of women and the rights of men equally.
Yeah.
So everybody when I see somebody like, when I see some people like that say, when I see a discrepancy like that, where someone for the same exact crime gets put away for exactly the same, for different times based upon only because they have a vagina or a penis, it makes me mad. Just like it makes me mad when it's legal in this country to circumcise boys, but it's not legal to that's not considered genital mutilation, but it is with women. Why is that not the case? You're cutting the same place. It should be considered genital mutilation. It has no medical benefit whatsoever. In fact, it's deterrent in a lot of ways.
Well, shit. Funny enough, dude, the thing that killed the whole privilege argument was, look at OJ.
It's all about money. See, it's not about race or sex or anything like that. It's about money.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, that motherfucker, if that had been any, inner city black dude or inner city white dude, they'd have cooked his ass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I think it's just interesting that's no longer there. So I think that's good in a way, because I don't want to...
It is, but it isn't. People still want to keep it alive, but it's, shit. Things have shown us that...
Well, I'm talking about that response from her, because it just kind of makes me go, oh, well, maybe she just said, you know what, I'm just going to take it down. And if she didn't want to deal with it, maybe I'm no longer her friend or something. Well, actually, no, I see her on there.
Yeah, I don't think it was that, but it was just funny. Yeah, because I remember seeing her respond, and I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I thought you saw that.
No, I didn't see it. I looked, and I guess she probably removed it pretty quickly after she posted it, because it's no longer there, I don't think. Let me check one more time here.
All right, yeah, because that was I saw it this afternoon is when I saw it. So.
Yeah, let's see. I don't think it. I don't see a comment or anything on there. It's no comment.
Wow. Okay, so she must have, because you can do that. You can delete your comments.
Well,
So
yeah, and I've done it before too. There's been a lot of times where I just haven't, I just didn't. I said something like, you know what? Like I almost deleted this because I even said in the beginning. I normally don't get political, but with all the outrage and talk of privilege for the 6-month sentence of that Stanford student, yes, Oz are even more outraged at the overwhelming gap in prison time and severity of sentencing between men and women. Why? Oh, taboo! How dare I mention that? It's just. Do you see where I'm going with this now, man?
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
awful, and it's going this way more and more. So yeah, I
So
was going to talk about that too because it just bugs me because there's just no one cares. No one fucking cares about any there's like examples abound in the Africa. No one, like I said, people care about the girls being kidnapped and raped. No one gives a fuck about little boys, 10-year-olds being handed guns and fighting in wars. It's like, well, that's just dude stuff.
Yeah, they're making them men early. That's all.
Or no one cares that like I said, women are molesting boys and girls and anybody, and they're not getting caught for it. No one fucking cares, and it happens all the time. But see, it's that brainwashed mentality of being stuck in that, and she does that. She's totally lockstep, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's her beliefs, but
It's one of those people you kind of watch your opinion around, huh?
yeah, and I had a feeling that she would be one of the ones who responded, and it was kind of like I wanted to make her think, and maybe it did. Maybe she goes, oh, wait a second.
Well, it's kind of funny how people are locked into their, even our other buddy who, like I said, the thing I put up was about voting, and I actually shared a status where a guy said, here's reason number 6 billion, whatever, that I don't vote. And he was like, everybody was posting feel the burn and how they love Bernie Sanders. He's like, everybody I knew, you could tell Bernie Sanders was the favored candidate, and yet he loses to Hillary. How is that possible? It's rigged or something like that. And so then, of course, Master Rawlings responded to that and was like, why do you people get so militant with this voting, with this fact that you don't vote? Who cares? And I'm like, because the people that vote are the same fucking way. They're all self-righteous and, well, if you don't vote, then you don't bitch. You don't care about the country and blah, 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 blah. So it's the same thing. But I think he's stuck in that because that's you're proud to be an AmeriCorn and, all that kind of shit. So it's the other side of groupthink. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
it is. There doesn't, I don't understand why people get mad that people are. Well, people get mad, I guess, because they think, oh, well, if you don't vote, you're not going to... But, hey, maybe it's good that they don't vote because they're going to vote for the person against you, so it works both ways. So
either way, I think it's rigged, so it doesn't matter what the fuck you do.
Well, obviously, with Hillary, and then everybody's talking about her being a woman, and that's the whole thing. It's all crap, man. And it bugs me, too, that I have to actually defend the fact that I'm trying to work... Like, you never have to defend yourself if you're saying, I believe that, even though the wage gap is completely bullshit... I believe in equal pay for women. Right on, you're awesome. I believe in the autonomy of bodily rights for women. Great. I believe in equal sentencings for men and women because women get sentenced more. Oh, well, you're rape and well,
yeah. All of a sudden,
and then they ask you, they question you, like, how could you think that? I'm like, okay, listen, I am egalitarian. That means I believe in men's rights and women's rights. So half the population's rights, I am going to believe, go for if they feel they're being infringed upon in terms of custody and other things and a lot of things that are going on. And it also happens to be the sex that I belong to. It's my gender too, so why wouldn't I support that? It's almost like they're saying, how could you not support women? Well, I do. Well, you're supporting men. Well,
because I'm a man.
I'm a man. Well, you should still. So even then, I'm as a man supposed to think about women before myself and my own gender.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Renaissance says, yeah, man, I'm pro-black, but like you should be pro-white because you're white.
And I'm pro-person. Now, in terms of race, I see race differently. For me, the only real divide is based upon the biggest divide, and only real divide between the humans is sex, because that's how we produce offspring, and it's an actual physical, organ, and mental. There's literally physiological, dimorphic differences. We are literally different. We're still human, both of us, obviously, but there's literal difference between us. That's how we survive. That's the whole way it works, is that we're different. That's why we have prostates, they have ovaries, we have the penises, they have vaginas. It's basic common shit, right? Well, that's fine. But see, black and white guys are all the same. Hell, you can have sex between a guy and a guy and a, you know, if a guy and a have sex between a black guy and a white girl, you're going to get a child regardless. It's still going to happen at the same rate, same issues, no impediment between that.
Right.
Can't have a baby with you're having sex with two women or two men. It's not going to happen because it can't, right? So
Right.
it's difference. It's a fundamental difference in humanity. It's the only real difference. And it should be respected. Of course, everyone should be treated equal. That's why I'm for equal everything. You know.
Hey, don't say that. Skeletor's proved us wrong.
Yeah, of course. See, that's why I can joke about race, because to me it's not a big deal, and it needs to be broken down as not a big deal. So if you can joke about something, usually it breaks that down. So, but this just proves my point. Like, she brought some study, and I don't know if she answered. You know, I didn't see it, so I don't know if she answered the question or not. It was a very simple question answered about privilege. No one touched it otherwise. No one fucking touched it.
No, nobody else went there.
No,
but
and I don't like to do political stuff because it gets me angry. But I was like, this moment of urge, I was like, you know, an urge, just fucking, I'm gonna do it. So I don't like to do that though, because I don't want to alienate my friends. Because my friendship with her is not based upon her politics, and I don't ever want it to be that the case.
Right.
I differ with a lot of people on, because I believe it's politics and religion are the same kind of thing. It's a belief system, it's an ideology, and if the person treats you with respect, you know, you can be a fucking Nazi feminist and believe, you know, whatever you want to. But if you treat me with respect and the people around me with respect, and you're a good person, then I'm going to be like, all right, well, you're a good person. So,
well, that's it. That's why, you know, our buddy and I, you know, we do disagree on some things, religion and politics and stuff, but we don't go there. You know, it's just, that's not our thing.
and if you do, you're like, all right, we agree to disagree. There you go, cool, we're
Yeah.
good. But I don't know if she can do that.
Yeah, well, that's it. You
And,
know, it
and
could make her.
I don't know if she, that's maybe she took it off. Did it seem like she was mean, or like making it like putting me down?
No, but it was a snot, you know, almost like, you know, she's throwing it back at you like, well, you know, what about this and
And
whatever.
then what about black people who are do more crimes? So they should get more time too. What is it? Are you trying to make excuses for it, or is it just, if it's there and you see it and you look at the study and go, wow, that's true, and I've looked at several studies and go, okay, that's true, then it's there and you just deal with it. And you go, okay, well that's an inequality. It's like people in Muslim countries. Women can't drive, they can't do a lot of shit, they have to wear shit. That's not considered equality.
No.
And anybody who says it isn't, now there's the other side of the coin in that country, is like the 10-year-old boys who are, and also the fact that that women actually like you have to drive, like you actually have to take care of women. If women do things in those countries, the men in their lives are responsible for that, so they can treat them like children, right?
Right.
So there's a trade-off, is that, like, let's say a woman robs a bank, the man a lot of times will be the ones who go to jail or get, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh wow, the man gets penalized.
well, crazy,
for the
like,
woman's
yeah,
activity.
crazy shit like that. That's the way it's been a lot. So there's always trade-offs, which aren't good. So you want them to be. That's why I want complete equality across the board, and that includes prison sentences. So there's nothing. I don't see there's anything wrong with what I said. I mean,
No,
No. I mean,
nothing.
it's-
No. What you said was fine. I just thought it was funny that, you know, right away she jumped in and threw out some study and statistics and this and that, and I was just like, man, what? A lot of times studies don't show shit. You know,
well,
I mean,
and
a
it
controlled
depends
group
on
of
what you're studying. If you're studying controlled people, but if you're studying actual, like, criminal outcomes from cases, that's actual fact.
right.
If you
But-
study like 10 cases, and there's between 10 cases of women, 10 cases of men for shoplifting, and in every case the man gets a month in prison, the woman gets community service.
But that's skewed too. I mean, you just said earlier, 95%. You know, with the rape thing. Well, how about the rapes that go unreported or are
So
thrown
it
out
goes
of,
both
you know,
ways, and you just got to keep an open mind. But I guess my point is, if you're seeing something there, then and if rapes are going unreported, then that's the fault of the person not reporting them.
Well, yeah, or they get thrown out of court
Because
or-
they're not, because there's no conceivable proof of it, and but see, it's all about, that's why it's a hard case to prosecute.
right.
So there's a lot of things involved, but I just see, there's things that are much easier to figure out than other things. I mean, if you look at 100 cases of custody where mutual custody of parents, and in 70% of those cases the child goes to the woman, even in cases where the home of the male is better in terms of more money, more income, more stability, then there's something wrong there, you know. And it's not about like, and you have to look at all the different factors.
Right.
I guess so you have to look at all the factors, but I'm just trying to make people think about, like, because it kind of made my point. You see it too. No one gives a fuck.
Well,
Who
that's
cares?
it. All of a sudden, you know, it's like, huh?
And then I bring it up, and it's like, oh, No,
Yeah,
I didn't
like-
say anything about rape statistics and false rape allegations. I was talking about perspective on privilege, and
Right.
that not everybody has privilege. In there's different kinds of privilege, and men have privilege in some ways, women have it in some ways, black people have it in some ways, white people. Unfortunately, I like to remove all that in terms of just law, at least. But yeah,
Right.
so. It's funny
Yeah.
how that is. But what else do you got, man? Because I'm that's all I really want to talk about.
Well, I got one more. This was an SMJ. This is something that happened to me yesterday.
All right, hold on a second.
So here we go.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna fuck with it tonight because
They can pop the music. All right. Well, that's fine.
I gotta
spit
save
it
that
out,
blind man. Gotta save him from danger.
So it was. I went yesterday because remember I had to get some blood work for the sleep study.
Yeah.
He wanted to get some blood work too to check on some levels of things and whatnot. So I go out and I'm waiting for my bus, and I go out to the curb and I'm standing there, and this old guy walks up and he says, "Sir, if you come over this way, there's no curb." And I'm thinking, well, what the fuck? You know, where's he even going with this? And I said, well, what's that mean? And and he was just like, well, there's no curb. And I'm thinking, well, I kind of need the curb so I don't walk out in the fucking street. You know what I'm saying? Like the curb is necessary. But I think his thinking was, well, this way, you being blind, you don't have to step off a curb. You know what I'm saying? Like when your bus comes or something. This way there's a ramp and you can just walk down. It's easier because you're disabled or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, he goes, and then when I sort of, I guess I must have had this look on my face like, what the fuck, dude? You're weird or whatever. He was just like, and then he goes, I'm just trying to help you out, sir. And, it goes back to that shit again where, I'm just trying to help. And it's like, well, actually, dude, you're aggravating the fucking situation because I got it under control.
I saw that post. So yeah, I saw that, and it's that fine line you got to walk where you're not offending other people, but then they have to realize at some point that you know what you're doing, and they have to trust in you.
Right.
You can't look at you and go, well, this guy needs
and
help unless you ask. Now, if you ask, say, hey, do you know where the best way to walk down here to get to the parking lot is? Well, sure,
Right.
there's a ramp right here. Well, thank you, sir. But if you're just standing there minding your own business, no one should assume anything unless you ask, or it's obvious you're in need of help. Like you're literally like sweating, walking around, like trying to find places, and you're bumping into shit, and then obviously someone can go, hey, you need help?
Need help,
or not,
man?
and not even just, and that's a first start. Just say, you need anything? You need help?
Right.
But not like, hey, sir, come over here.
Yeah.
You don't, because you don't understand the situation. You think you do, but you don't. So assume that the other person understands their situation before you jump in to try to fix the situation when you don't even know.
Right.
Like
Like, what kind of harebrained idea was
Yeah.
this anyway? Like, oh, I got an idea. I'll tell him there's no curb here.
Well,
This will be easier for him. Like, well, first of all, dude, you assumed. And what that tells me when you assume is that you think you know the answer before you even ask the question.
Yes.
So I asked the question,
Well, because he obviously thought that maybe you didn't know where you needed to be because of obvious stupidity in terms of not assuming that you're a right-minded human being who knows what you're doing in your life.
Right, exactly. You don't know what's going on 1 minute to the next. Well, again, it goes back to, and I say this all the time, sighted people love to put their shoes on you, but will never put your shoes on.
Well, no, they will put your shoes on, but they can't imagine living in your shoes, so they assume that you don't live well in your shoes yourself.
Right, well, they put it on from their perspective. Well, if I was blind, this is what I would do.
You do the same thing, too, because you assume things about sighted people, and then you're making one right now, assumption about all these, how sighted people do this and that.
Well, I'm not saying all sighted people, but I'm just saying that those who are sighted have a tendency to put their shoes on us rather than trying to figure out how we live.
I don't think it has anything to do with being sighted. I think it's how people are in differences. Like, so that's where you're going with the, well, it's a sighted thing. It's a thing about differences. Like, because you do the same thing for sighted people. It's back and forth. See, that's where you're getting to the point where you're saying that, well, only sighted people do that. I don't do that because I'm blind. Well, no, you do exactly the same fucking thing. Its only difference is that you think that sighted people do it more, which is doing exactly the same fucking thing.
Well, wait, how do I do it to sighted people? That's what I'm trying to figure
Well,
out.
because you're doing it right now. Why? Is by assuming that sighted people don't see things in your shoes because they're sighted.
Well, not all sighted people are that way.
And not
Some
all
sighted
blind
are
people
very-
would be able to know about the curb. A lot of people would have liked that help and would have said, oh, well, thank you for rocking me down the fucking thing, whatever. My point is, stop judging people on anything that doesn't exactly deal with their individuals unless, that's where I'm trying to go. And it's hard to do because I don't do it all the time. A lot of people don't do it all the time. And it's just the trick is though is not to try to get in that sighted bubble because it's happened with because I see Mr. Rawlings doing it all the time. Sighties this and sighties that, and it's like you're doing the same shit. But
that's what they do, man. This is those sighted people do that.
And
shit.
blind people are stupid fucks who need to be walked down ramps, and that's why he does what he does. Exactly the same fucking thing.
Well, and that's it. There are some dumb fucking blind people. There are a lot of dumb fucking blind people.
Exactly. So you can't get mad at him. If you're going to assume the same thing about him, then you can't get mad about him assuming the same thing about you. There's no difference. Absolutely.
But you know what they always fall back on though is I've never been around someone blind, so I don't know. Well, guess what? Maybe I've never been around someone ignorant. Because if you trip, growing up, my family never treated me any differently. My friends never treated me any differently. It wasn't until I got out into the sighted world where all of a sudden I started having sighted people doing sighty McShit.
Well, they were used to you and you were used to them. So that's being used to people.
Right.
Too.
But then there's intelligent. See, this is the thing. There are sighted people that know what's up.
And they do. And there are blind people that know what's up, and there are blind people that don't. And there are blind people that are fucking gonna that's what the frustrating thing about it is. It's not a sighty or blindo thing. It's a difference thing. It's a perspective thing. It doesn't have anything to do with their sight or not. Now, you might notice trends, which is fine. You can say, oh, well, there's a lot of sighted trends. Like, I know, I do too. Like, oh, God, the fucking, why are you smelling you got to deal and just fucking deal with it. And I know it's frustrating, and you have to deal with it, but it's just as frustrating for a sighted guy, to deal with a blind guy who's fucking, a dumbass and is getting in there like, oh, well, shit, God, this motherfucker, he's standing in front of my fucking car and he doesn't, say whatever. The whole point is that it's all about getting over that labeling as much as you can, at least on a not on an individual basis. Like that guy deserves to be ridiculed for a very simple reason. He invaded your mental space and making assumption and invaded your space. It'd be like if he was standing there and you say, because this happened before too, when someone goes, hey, can I? And you're like, oh, I'm fine. He's like, oh, I was just gonna let you know that there's a fucking, there's something was put in the middle of the street right here, and it wasn't there yesterday. And you go, oh, okay. And now you're like the idiot. So it's all about the assumption of being made there, and that's the problem. It's not about him being sighted or not. It's about him making.
Hey man, you're cutting out real bad, actually.
Oh, am I? Oh shit.
That's weird.
Is it back?
You there?
Am I back?
Hello.
Okay.
There we go.
You can hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Well, yeah, I did kind of mess up a little bit there. But I just think the idea of, and that's where we're going, is that it's always us against them mentality, and you will notice trends with certain people. But if you drop into the point of assuming those trends are equated to those people, you're doing the same thing that they're doing.
Well, I guess it's just when I see the same people doing the same shit all the time and relating it to, well, if I were blind, this is how I would, It's like, dude, don't tell me what the fuck you will do. This is what I do. Watch what I do and observe. Learn. Don't short attention span theater and, oh, well, if I were this way,
Just don't get mad when you do the same thing, because we all do it. We all do it. When we all get to the point where, like,
I try to be understanding, if I know that someone's genuinely trying to help, but that was just stupid what this guy did, because in this case, I kind of needed the curb, because otherwise the ramp is flush with the street, so I didn't want to walk out in the fucking street and risk getting run over or something. You know what I'm saying?
And I think this kind of highlights one of the biggest struggles we have as human beings, and it's one of the biggest struggles we have is that it's that tipping point where you can make the jokes, oh, look at that little Mexi melt, blah, 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 look at all that stuff, look at that fucking bull dyke or whatever, look at that fucking sighty McSighted fuckface, and look at that blindo over there, whatever, that roller to Durbit.
Right.
It's the point of knowing where to cut that off and knowing when to not get that group mentality going, because it's a tough thing to do. You start thinking and start tricking yourself and fooling yourself into thinking, oh, well, I think of everyone as an individual, because they need to think about me as an individual, and then you go and do the same fucking thing without like having that perspective. Like, I'll make the jokes about about sighties and about anybody else, but
and I
it's
think too, when we're talking about those kind of people, I don't think we're putting all sighted people or all Mexicans or all whatever in the same category. It's those kind of people that think that way.
So basically, sighties in itself are those who think that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I wouldn't consider.
So you wouldn't consider me, even though I can see, a sighty.
No, No, and I wouldn't call Kraken a sighty or your brother a sighty or whatever. It's because you guys don't behave that way. A sighty is a specific.
Yes, they meet the stereotype. Okay, that's where I'm going with that. Is that I don't think a lot of people think that way. I don't think Mr. Rawlings thinks that way.
I think maybe not. I mean, when he says sighted, it's just like obviously I think he knows that there are enlightened sighted people too.
But it's a defense mechanism of a lot of people the stupid sighties. And it's like,
no, it's just those kind of people. See, I have them broken down into I have sightees, which are sighted people that think they know the fuck better. Then there are sightsees that like the I know blind people type. I know my brother was blind. I know all there is about blind people. And it's like, no, you have no fucking clue. So when I say sighty, I don't mean it's not a blanket to all sighted people. It's to those sighted people that behave in that manner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's what I mean when I'm saying sighty, because there are a lot of, like I said, there are a lot of sighted people, and honestly, the smart sighted people are the ones who raise the bar for the sighties. Why I look so negatively at the sighties.
Yep, that makes sense.
So.
And it's just that's the constant struggle I see, is that it's always a division of that's what people do. Some people cannot get past the group. And some people are the exact opposite. Well, they focus on complete individualism, although I'm definitely lean more toward that way than the group.
Oh, yeah. You're pretty sometimes, man.
I'm pretty militant toward individual. That's just me. That's me. As long as I recognize that I do lean that way, then it's all good. But you got to recognize where you are in that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that's the lesson of the day,
fuckers.
Folks. That's the lesson of the fucking day. I think
did we bore you all?
Did you bore? Did you stop listening? Because if you did, then we don't fucking care.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? We want people who listen anyway. That's why we always get those every day on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm always seeing Stim Radio got 3 views. Nothing Sacred got 3 views or whatever,
Yeah, man.
Checking, man.
We're building, man. We're growing, man. Our legions are strong. We're gonna be the biggest group wait, never mind. We're individuals.
Yeah, we're gonna be on XM Radio.
We're individuals, man. There's we got Crystal and there's some of James and John. And Skeletor, and then
Skeletor.
We got all these people together to work together, and we've got Cruise Control
and Maxwell Silverhammer,
and we've got the story there, bitches. This has been the Nothing Sacred Show, the 8th of June, 2016. We're out for a while, bitches, ladies.